Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3. Hello and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Darren Moser, along with Lieutenant Phillip Gilfus and Lieutenant Daniel Prue, both serving under me for their first tour of duty. So they basically have to do whatever I say, at least for this week. Fresh out of the academy, I just know it's going to be a great tour. Nothing could possibly go wrong. I mean, we're already stranded on this planet, but I mean, you're still going to listen to my expert command experience. I mean, this is my second command, year 2. Yeah, I'm digging myself a hole here, but
well, no, I just like that we're embracing, especially Next Generation, but the rest, where we're fresh out of the academy, and I look like I should have grandchildren, you know, and that's what you see in TNG, where you have like the 50-year-old ensign. You're like, oh, third career? Is this what this is?
What is that one like blue shirt that's kind of walking around that looks older than Picard, and you're just like, how are you not an admiral? What is what choices did you make in your past?
There's a seniors at work program in Starfleet. And these are people who, you know, did other things for their career and have retired, and now they're wanting. They're basically the Walmart greeters.
Oh Lord!
Well, of course they would be blue shirts then, so that makes sense, Daniel.
I mean, look, we can't all raise a new subcontinent on Earth. I mean, there's only so many subcontinents we can raise, so I guess we just got to find other jobs for these people.
I mean, Starfleet must not, you know, they just must be, you know, happy that everyone showed up. Because even in the, you know, Tapestry alternative universe where Lieutenant Picard, or Lieutenant Junior Grade Picard, apparently he's been in Starfleet 50 years and got promoted once, usually you'd be asked to leave at that point. But they're like, you know what, you're good. We're just glad you stayed.
No, even better. They're like, you know, normally we'd ask you to leave, but no, we're going to put you on the flagship because...
handing pads around, because
yes,
someone has to do that.
You're a courier now because there's no video chat between any rooms. It's all audio. So if someone wants to show something, you got to bring it on a pad. Because that
well, that's in case the Cylons show up.
Yeah.
You don't want things networked together too closely.
Who's going to look out the window if the sensors go down? Someone's got to do it.
Right.
Geordi.
Yes, Geordi. But old senior citizens of the Federation is not what we're going to be talking about
Ageism
today.
is what we're talking about here today.
But first, I wanted to ask if there was anything in your Trek lives. Are you guys gearing up for Discovery coming out in, well, they say this year, so we'll give it to them. Or are any rewatches continuing?
I'm working on this stupid game still. I've played through it like 3 times, and it glitched on me, so I had to replay it. This Star Trek game called Star Trek. And
this is the Kelvin
the 2009 one.
Yes, yep, the one between 2009. There was a Gorn adventure that was referenced in the movies, so this is what I'm playing, and the game is terrible. It's awful and terrible. And I'm just getting real close to finishing it, and I'm pretty excited because I'm kind of over it.
You know, what you're missing, Daniel, you just got to hold shift. I mean, that'll solve all your problems.
You're not wrong, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, other than continuing my Enterprise rewatch, which the Ferengi showed up, and it did strike me they came a lot earlier than I thought. I'm like, oh, was that a first season episode? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's for me, that's a little sort of like...
Yeah, I would have thought that would have been season 2.
I mean,
like,
that kind
okay,
of
let's start pulling into the back catalog here.
That's kind of desperate to me that early in the show. They're like, oh, we gotta get something people know, you know. And I'm like, okay. I mean, you know, I've been enjoying it. I don't.
You know what people really want in their Enterprise? Laser whips.
There was yes, they still had lasers. I think that was a nice callback or funny.
I mean, at least the effects were slightly updated.
Well, and I did enjoy the. Because I don't have I mean, well, as an episode, you can argue about what you think of it. But as far as, like, we have the Ferengi, but obviously we can't have the Ferengi because canon. But I like how they handled it. It was like
Yeah.
most of the crew was unconscious.
It's a wink and a nod
Yeah.
at the camera.
Yeah.
And the language stuff was cool.
Oh yeah. That did strike me. I'm like, whoa, and they're just gonna not speak their language for the whole time. Of course, not having
Little Green Men.
Yeah, I was going to say not having seen Little Green
gonna
Men.
say.
I don't know if the language matches correctly.
I think that's the only other time we hear it. I don't remember specifically either, but Little Green Men sounds like so.
Well, this is not TV based, though. I mean, I guess you were talking games, Daniel, but I'm not necessarily at this point in my life that much of a comics person anymore. But I have very much been enjoying Star Trek Waypoints from IDW series, and I was very sad to learn that it's apparently just a limited run. Like there's probably one issue left. I was like, oh man, I love those because there was a recent one. Well, I guess I shouldn't do the spoiler. I'll just say it's actually an Enterprise story involving a dog. Actually, it was so good. I actually had my wife
Porthos.
read it, and she enjoyed it. But anyway, but I because it's obviously, for those who aren't familiar with Star Trek Waypoints, it's comic series. But each issue has two stories, and it could be random. Like one's going to be, and then you can get a cover based on which of those stories. So like. One recent one may have been a TOS story, and then an Enterprise story, or a Deep Space. And so it's good to see these sort of brief story scenes from our favorite series, and so I do like that aspect of it. And so I'm very sad to see that's cut out, because IDW is obviously doing great work with Star Trek. You have, I don't know off the top of my head, but you have the Green Lantern crossover, if that's your thing. You have the Star Trek... Is it Star Trek Continued? I can't remember what it's called, but then they have like three other Star Trek series going on, so they're doing a lot of good stuff on the comic side of the Star Trek.
So, what I'm learning from this is that CBS/Paramount do know how to license Star Trek in a good way. they just choose not to in other ways.
Well, they can't make the property too inviting, otherwise Disney will buy it. So maybe that's their plan.
I just want Lego Star Trek. It's not that complicated.
Not gonna happen.
That hard.
We're gonna
I
get
know.
Tycho Block Star
So
Trek.
No,
dumb.
Mego Block Star Trek.
I can't stand
Duplo Star Trek.
Well, Duplo's part of Lego, but yeah.
Well, you have the kid, you would know.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and back to the Ferengi language for a moment, though. I always wondered, how do they say specific phrases in their own language with the universal translator? Like, let's say you're talking to a Klingon, or let's say
Seems unlikely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. I think there's the episode where I think the Defector, where Picard or Riker, one of them, is trading insults with him, and he says, only a Varul. Well,
right.
How did the universal translator know to pause for that word? Because it's. I guess what I'm saying
I know
is,
what you're saying.
like, let's say you're
the inconsistency,
or maybe it's the reverse. Yeah, it's like a Klingon says, He's saying, like, oh, you are just like a Mokba. And it's like, okay, well, basically what you just said in Klingon is, Forse she's Mokba. And it decided to not translate the last word for emphasis.
It's the not smart translating technology where it doesn't have an exact match, I guess. So it just kind of leaves it.
I mean, like, Copla, I mean, success, you can't translate that.
But that's the thing, is it's not like it. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, Daniel, but it's always at the right moment. Like, exactly, like, let's say Kapla is success. So I get it when a human is saying it, because a human is saying Kapla, and it just so all no matter what, Klingons always hear the word Kapla, always.
Right.
You're either saying it correctly or you're saying it success, and it translates it. But if a Klingon says Kapla, why is it not translating it to success? Technically, no Klingon should ever say Kapla. It should always say success.
Well, that brings up the question of the universal translator, because a human or a Terran, I'm just saying that Terran is human because someone who's actually lived on Earth and knows the Earth languages.
Human, even the name is offensive.
But like when they're purposefully speaking another language, and I don't mean alien, I mean human. So like when Picard speaks French,
right?
How does the universal translator know it's no longer English or Federation Standard or whatever we're calling it? This is now French, and so.
I mean, shouldn't Riker be like, oh yeah, now you kind of have a French accent, but I basically hear everything in English because of the universal translator.
And so, are we hearing people's voices Or are we hearing the universal translator's version of people's voices?
Okay, you're missing what really should upset you about the universal translator, because you would be running around this spaceship like with essentially like, what is the word I'm looking for, when like dubbing, because nobody's mouths would actually match the words that you're hearing.
that's true. The fact
and it would be terrible.
And that's the thing.
Awful.
I mean, I guess that the
hilarious.
technology could create like a local silencing field, and maybe where it takes your words and then plays them back translated. Because it's a very good point. Like, are we hearing, Yeah, it's got way deeper than I was meaning to.
Also, do we ever even know what the universal translator is? I mean, is it a piece of technology that's embedded in you?
Well,
it's in the communicator
in 24th century.
Yeah.
I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they don't wear their shirts or they lose their communicator, which happens all the time, they should not be able to speak to most anybody.
Well, actually, what it has is there's something called a Babel fish, and what it is if you stick it in your
yes, of course.
I mean,
one?
at least in Star Wars, they handle it a little differently, where everyone has
Speaks British.
there's basic, there's the
Only the
common
bad guys.
language that everyone knows.
galactic standard or something.
Yep.
Well, it's called basic.
Oh.
But
Well,
anyway,
because in Enterprise, I think they I was going to say overemphasize that, and that's the wrong word, but they do emphasize the UT a whole lot more because, of course,
right, because it's brand new.
That's what Enterprise is all about, that they can do that, and you have Hoshi and all that stuff. And I think the original series, I think only once or twice are like, here's our UT stick, and this is what it does, But
Right.
but that's a good question. In TOS, where is the UT? Because they don't have
Well,
communicators.
and
as such.
then and then we know the Ferengi had them embedded in their ears, because of Green Little Men.
Think of Star Trek 6 too, where he's actually got a handheld translator.
Right. Don't wait for the translation, Daniel.
Is that even another translator, or is somebody translating for him?
Oh, like in the UN where there's someone off
that's
to the
what I was
side.
thinking, yeah.
That I
Yeah.
think so, because we see like a row of people, very much like the UN, where they have the row of translators, and I think it's very much like that. Where
So it's weird because in
a
in the
Klingon
rest
is speaking human, and to that earpiece.
right,
or
or a
Darren.
human probably would be that way. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Well, I don't think there are other humans in the Klingon court.
no, they're lawyers. No, I'm kidding. I know it was Worf's.
That was Worf's great
I know.
grandfather.
I'm about to lose my train of thought. Oh no.
Lawyers
I
aren't
was-
humans.
Yeah. We killed all the lawyers. In that movie earlier, in the dinner scene and stuff like that, are we to assume then that those Klingons are speaking
Tach
English?
be, tach ba.
Right, that's a
Obviously,
good
we
point.
know that they're not. So
Or the scenes where Spock and Valeris talk in Vulcan. It's like, does everyone else around them not hear it in English, or is it just in it's
And then we
I
get
mean,
the-
it's obviously like whatever the writers want it to be,
And-
but it's like there are no consistent rules.
But we also get the terrible. Well, it's not. I mean, it's funny, but like if you think about the terrible scene with Uhura and her 50 books.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I think
Yeah.
I don't overanalyze it. I think you just take it for what it is. But yeah, I don't think
Eh,
really
I don't
have.
know.
I mean, it is also funny because at this point there is probably the Klingon dictionary like out in the real world, so it's like,
And also,
you
they're
could-
they're using books in that scene, right? They're not using
Yeah,
pads.
they're books.
they're called bricks with words, Philip. We've established this.
It's obviously this is a necessity of writing a science fiction universe. Like we said, Star Wars has a different kind of idea, but it's the same sort of thing. It's an easy way to have everybody communicate, because obviously in a universe filled with bazillions of species, it's going to be a pretty big problem.
Look, you just build your own protocol droid, and he's going to be able to translate.
Yeah, that's true. They have those. Well,
How many
and
forms of communication do you think they know?
maybe 6 million or so.
Okay.
Well, and then that's true. I was just thinking in the episode where Picard is at the Klingon High Council with Worf, and the High Council like berates Duras for not speaking in the humans' language so they can understand. So again, it's like, so there's no universal so basically Picard's not hearing French or whatever it is. Yeah. Well, and then
That's
you have
true. What is Picard hearing? Does he hear standard or does he hear French?
we have the 37s in Voyager, and that's where all those people were in cryo, and when they come out and they experience UT for the first time, and
Which,
they
by the way,
hear...
guys, when you experience UT for the first time, I mean, it was a college for me.
Forget.
But
you never forget your first time.
But they make a point that the Japanese man is like, I'm hearing like you're speaking my native language. Like, how did you learn that?
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, oh, super advanced alien technology we got right here. Boom, no
Did they
big
give
deal.
him an accent in that?
I don't think so.
Episode.
Well,
I don't think they did.
If it was, it wasn't. I mean, I'd have to watch again. I just
It's
don't
probably
remember
really
being
subtle.
very pronounced if he did have an accent.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that would be a pretty good place for them to slip up. But yeah, it's a really interesting idea. It's just never been actually presented in any way that makes sense or is consistent.
Star Trek Beyond. Star Trek Beyond, I think, does, because it does do the dubbing, like you said, Daniel. So when that alien who comes out of the void, whatever they called the
like the
evil space,
the distress signal.
Well, no. When they actually get her on board the station, they have her in like the science pod area, and basically they put the little thing on her collar, and she speaks. We lightly hear her talking, and then it projects her translated English voice after.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, it literally does it like you said, Daniel, where a slight delay. Like a translator, you hear what she's saying, because I mean that's the biggest picture of like, even if it instantly translated, there's a certain speed it cannot go faster than. You have to literally say the word, or in some languages, the entire sentence before it can even translate something to do meaning. Yeah,
but obviously, even within the Kelvin universe, that's inconsistent. I'm thinking of like specifically when Nero comes out of a black hole, or when he meets Captain Pike, and he's just like, "Hi, I'm Nero." And presumably, this is a guy. He's a minor.
Even
does everyone learn English in the Alpha Quadrant? Because it's like, just
it's not Romulans.
If you
wanted, Romulans would.
But I mean, if you need to deal
Federation
with
standard.
the Federation,
yeah, no way a Romulan minor would know. I feel like they're way too isolated.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not.
He's pretty old for a minor. I don't think.
Yeah, it's when you get older,
he's in
you
that
really
age
learn
class.
Aha.
Well, no. It was Borg enhanced UT.
Oh, Lord.
On the Narada.
That's called telepathy.
Okay, so the Borg don't have a language.
Well, they have a 110010001 language.
Do they have a verbal language, is what you mean?
Probably not.
Well,
right. So when
they have to know how to say resistance is futile in every single language.
That's true.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well,
that's
I guess
step one of assimilation.
It would be super easy for them because as soon as they assimilate somebody, they know the language, and then they know to use that language.
Right.
Although, and slightly off the point, why do they even bother with that speech? And why don't they just attack people? Generally speaking, anyway.
It'd be way scarier if like some giant cube came out of nowhere and just started to, and they'd never talk to you ever.
I mean, to me, that would be very interesting if the Borg never did speak. I mean, of course, that goes to Daniel's whole anti-Queen tirade. But I mean, to have the Borg,
you're thinking so three-dimensionally, Phillip.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, if the Borg were, I mean, it would be scarier then. I mean, yeah, like there's no way to communicate because they don't. The only way to communicate is to be assimilated and to be part of the hive. Yeah. Now
8472 never spoke, right? It was all telepathy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was like images in your head. Yeah. It's like forced telepathy.
So maybe it's like a Borg propriety thing. Like just being polite. Hey, resistance is futile. It's like pulling out a chair.
Just a heads up.
Yeah. We give you a chance to consent. And then if you don't.
So Star Trek hasn't been very consistent. It's one of those things, honestly, that at this point we just take it for granted, and that's okay. I don't really know that we necessarily need to know more about it because you're going to overcomplicate your universe.
Well, it would be interesting to have an episode, and I know Babel was in Deep Space Nine, but that was different. If you actually had some sort of thing that interfered with the UT, whether it's Deep Space Nine or TOS or Kelvin or Discovery or whatever,
right?
Where, like, for an episode, people had to like communicate, and so because then you'd almost see all the aliens, and I include humans in that, just all the species, would have to self-segregate because they can only understand themselves.
Right. Or, remember, there's several different versions of, like, Chinese. I mean, you could have Klingons from different parts of the homeworld that could not understand each other without,
well, they could all
like,
understand
translator.
honor. That would probably be.
That's,
And Qapla'.
Did you know there's 58 words in the Klingon dictionary for honor?
I wonder, in that universe where this technology exists and is obviously so readily available that it's
Like,
almost
everybody has it.
crippling. Yeah, I wonder in that universe, would that diversify language, or would that kind of consolidate it all into one thing? I don't know.
I would
I'm
say
not sure.
it would diversify it in the fact that if you wanted... because see, it's like if you want to keep something secret, you could speak in your own language, but then again, if everyone has a translation to your language, that isn't really an option.
Like, how do you talk about people that when they're in the room? I mean, that's really got to be something that...
And again, like you said, it must be really prevalent. Like, I was just thinking, I just watched Chain of Command recently, and when Picard's getting tortured, he does not have his communicator on. So
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
The Cardassian is translating, through the UT somewhere in the room.
Well, what about, like, even we mentioned the binars, or at least you mentioned binary language, but like when the binars are talking, how come we can't understand them?
I think it's just too dense and too fast, and that's why Wesley asked the question that we're all not asking.
But why even make that audible?
Because that's the actual communication between them. Like, it's an audio.
If you slow it down,
it's like it's modem sound. No, it's basically modem sound.
Right, but even
that would be awesome if they spoke in modem.
And then one says, "You've got mail."
No, it's silly. It's silly. Even at that speed that you could hear those things clicking on and off, or ones and zeros. That is ridiculously slow to do it audibly. I mean, obviously with fiber technology, we do it with light, and you're not going to get faster than that. So it's
warp drive, Daniel. I mean, Star Trek's built around going faster than light.
It would be a super clunky way to communicate in binary. Would be audible. It would be actually really crippling, I think.
It would
That's
be
true.
like Data talking, which she does all the time.
Well, yeah, because the Borg Queen even points it out to
Yes.
Data. She's like, "Why are you talking? Stop talking, Data. Just plug in."
To be fair, Picard also told him to stop talking in Nemesis, but that was different.
I'm
that's true.
less worried about why Data talks, and more worried about why he ever uses his fingertips on the computer pads.
Because think of it this way. Yes, there should have been Wi-Fi. We all agree that, but there's also the fact that there's something we said. I mean, nowadays it's easier to develop a robot. Like, we're getting to the point where it's easier to develop a robot that has hands and can actually interface with everything in our world that's built for biped hand use than to custom make every interface something that can be done by a robot, connecting, or a human.
I'm not suggesting that Data doesn't need hands. I just don't think he needs hands to do his job. I think that we see him connect to the computer directly a few times. And
so he should just sit in ops, and even if you're not going to buy, even if we're going to say okay, fine, you can't do Wi-Fi for some bizarre reason, but maybe he should just plug into ops in his head and just lie
I think
there.
you should have a little remote. It's a little
just
wireless
lies there, and,
like Uhura has her thing in, and he just plugs it into the back of his head.
No, even better. It's like a little USB port, so when he sits
In the
down,
back of his neck.
He has a Google Chrome,
like the Matrix.
right in the back there.
Actually, it's a MagSafe adapter, so when he lays back in that lounge chair, it just goes, and then he's
and if you're really,
connected.
that'd be actually
That was
pretty
like the
cool.
Matrix now.
Yeah.
And if you're really concerned about appearances, he could mime touching the keypad. That's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
just look at me. I'm doing my job.
I just love
The
scanning
cat
for
videos,
life forms.
Data just going.
Anyways,
But yeah, I guess there's we've talked about how there should be Wi-Fi in the Enterprise, especially for Data, or maybe they just didn't have it because there is only one Data. So are you really going to refit the entire building with Wi-Fi for one person?
Well, that's even the Doctor in Voyager. how much should he be able? Like, I mean, tools. I get medical tools he's going to have to use because that's what they're made for, tactile. But like, there's certain things like, can he just turn on the medical bay, or like open up the clamshell with his mind? Like, does he necessarily need to touch every single thing?
That's true. Why doesn't his hands just turn into, or even not turn into it, but why don't they just materialize
like a
T2? Yeah, exactly. Materialize tools
into a scalpel. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. Although that would be cool. I like the thought of
Doctor as exocomp.
No, but I mean, like he walks in, or someone walks in, and he literally just like nods over towards the medical bay, and it opens up and gets ready. Like you're saying, he doesn't need to touch it
because the EMH, arguably, the base model would be fully or should be fully integrated into that sick bay for that ship or that station or whatever. So he really should be fully integrated into everything.
Yeah, it's an interface issue of it's easier for humans to interact with a holographic representation of a doctor than it is to walk into an empty sick bay, say, "Computer, help me," and then things like tractor beam float around and suture me.
Because I would think
that's just hard.
The purpose or the raison d'etre of the EMH is that you have no medical staff, like zero, like you in Voyager, and so they would really need to have to do everything literally. Because they're not going to have.
Or why couldn't they ever make a copy, like not a full advanced, like a full like everything copy, but a copy, but like a nurse copy. Like, okay, you have just enough knowledge to assist the doctor. And
no. He is way sophisticated enough of a program for him to handle two bodies at once, or more. I would argue. He wouldn't even have to split resources in a way, because I mean, if he has this ridiculous amount of knowledge and ability and skill, that still pales in comparison. That's just one program that sits on the computer. There's no reason that they couldn't just duplicate it for two sets of hands or whatever, or two people.
And they do, in a way. Like, I mean, we see episodes where like the doctor's backup module is recovered, and it's a full program. It's not like he doesn't have all the knowledge past when he was copied, but he's a full EMH program.
Yeah, I just think he would be able to control two bodies with no problem.
The way they seem to present it, and Daniel, you're smarter than me as far as everything, programming, computer, and all that, but like the way they present it, especially in Deep Space Nine with Dr. Bashir, I presume, and even in Voyager with some of the various Doctor episodes, that the Matrix is like the hologram, but like the hologram. Like, it's not like they're thinking about, like, here's the hard drive it's like, okay, I need the holographic image, then I'm putting programs into this holographic image instead of it being like, but that doesn't make sense.
So,
it's not
okay, so the Matrix
it's not the
is
shell.
His program is the Matrix.
None of that, well, I mean, unless, of course, it's possible that you could just say it's science fiction, so we don't really know how it works, but presumably none of that would exist on the Doctor, in the Doctor. That would just be part of like, literally everything is essentially, for lack of a better term, streaming to that body.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So all of the programs, all of the knowledge, all of the skills he has, all of the memories are just coming from inside the ship, from the computer.
And so, like,
we can also say, for argument's sake, like, let's just say like the mobile emitter. Like, it's easier to visualize instead of like the computer core is the Doctor, because it, like you said, it basically is. And then he just is able to compress down into the mobile emitter.
I mean, think about it. The computer runs all the time.
A lot of the ship.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, think of any holodeck program, which has, like, dozens and dozens of holographic characters and controls them all with no problems at all. There's no reason that they couldn't even
there be problems in the holodeck. I mean, maybe that's the problem in general. You tried to put too many people on your holographic beach, and now they're all trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when you said streaming, now I'm just picturing, like, the Doctor operating for hours at a time, and he's about to do surgery, and then, like, computer stops, like, are you sure you want to continue using this, Doctor?
You haven't moved in a while, so...
It's because I'm unconscious, you idiot, to perform the surgery.
No, I mean, I would imagine, like, there's a huge... I don't know, I've never looked at specifically at, like, the Voyager blueprints or anything. I imagine there's a pretty big computer node that sits outside of sickbay.
I was going to say, like, I and again, I mean, imagine, it's all imagined, but I wouldn't imagine it would be direct for the core, like you all said. It would have to be some supplementary computer core in sickbay.
And I don't think he necessarily is like taking up the entire main computer core of like
Not
Voyager.
even close, I don't think.
But I agree. There's probably like a dedicated EMH core located like in the floor of sickbay. Like that totally makes sense. Also would make sense because I don't believe. I mean, I'm sure there's times when like the computer core goes offline in Voyager, but I don't know if that ever affected the Doctor. I can't remember.
Well, much like the holodeck, the EMH computer core is separately. Well, it's part of the holodeck.
Yeah.
You know, it's all holograms
Yeah.
are separately powered.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when he's now the ECH and he's on the bridge, and then he says, "Computer, do such and such." Why is he saying that? He is the computer.
Yeah, he shouldn't do that.
I mean,
yeah.
it's technically one program interfacing with another program. The ship computer interfacing with the holographic Doctor computer.
Right, but literally doing things audibly for a computer makes zero sense. It is the clumsiest, awkwardest, most accident-prone way to communicate. I mean, obviously we do it out of necessity, and we're pretty good at it.
Just look at Geordi. If he had been a computer asking for a Sherlock Holmes situation, I think we could have avoided a lot of issues. So.
But yeah, that does go back to language because the Doctor, in addition to, I guess the Doctor would, he UT as well to communicate with.
Yeah,
patients.
I read that he actually has one built into his program.
Right, but he should also speak. I don't know what language they use in computer programming in 24th century, but that should be his base.
It's
C++. Repeating, of course.
Right.
It's C plus infinity.
I mean, he would. I mean, he might. I don't know. I guess this is going way off topic. He might think that way. He might think.
We don't have a
code.
topic, Daniel. This is it.
He might think that way, but he certainly wouldn't communicate that way. Specifically him, and Data too, I guess. Were designed to, when they're communicating with people, it makes sense to use spoken language. When they're communicating with computers, it makes zero sense.
Well, and there's times when Data does interface with computers. He does interfaces. I mean, obviously interfaces with the Enterprise many, many times, but like Fistful of Datas would be one I'm thinking of. I guess were they trying to use his memory core or something silly?
Yeah, I can't remember.
But anyway,
it's like
the
if you
interface
could-
with the Borg.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
In more than one ways.
Well, see, and that's well, yeah, that's true, and that's exactly my point. Is what happens in Best of Both Worlds makes total sense, and that's kind of how Data. I would assume Data would always communicate with anything electronic.
Sleep Data.
Well, like in Evolution, the Universal Translator helps translate the nanites into like binary, and then I think that's partially how they interface with Data when he eventually speaks for them in that computer clippy way.
Yeah. Well, even watching Enterprise, I mean, the UT, and I get it because then it'd be like a 5-hour-long episode, but it works pretty quickly. Like, it's like, Lochovacha. Okay, I need a little bit more. Chochapa words. Almost there. Make another sentence clause. Okay, I'm there. And so it's like, wow, that's
Right.
really
Right.
pretty advanced technology. Which makes me wonder, is that a Vulcan invention? Like, did humans develop the UT, or did the Vulcans give it to them, or I don't know.
I think it's probably one of those things where the more you put into it, the better it gets. So the more languages that you come across, the more kind of ways it has to reference back on those kinds of things. And there's probably only so many ways.
Because then the question is, in First Contact, how did the humans and Vulcans understand each other?
I would imagine for a First Contact scenario, the Vulcans would have done something. I don't know what they would have
or
done.
they would have used their universal translator if they had such a thing. Well, and we joked earlier about her reading Klingon, but I think they actually have a line. I don't know if it's a line or if it was later revealed that the reason they're speaking Klingon is that the universal translator would have been recognized, and then it's like, oh, you're obviously not Klingons.
Wait a minute. I actually know the answer to your question, Philip. In First Contact, the reason that the Vulcans spoke English was because they've been watching I Love Lucy reruns for
There you go.
50 years.
Carbon
That's why
Creek,
he
you're
was
right.
like, live long and prosper, you're in trouble.
Yeah. was it Cochrane, I'm home.
They've been watching our historical transmissions. For
Historical documents.
Those poor people on Gilligan's Island. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I've read some pieces about the UT that it actually is more focused on like interpreting brain patterns in humanoid life forms.
Okay.
Which kind of makes a little more sense on the fact that you wouldn't have that dubbed Japanese kind of feel of like the voice not being in sync with the lips. But it also... But they never really, I think, say that. It always seems to be inferred that it's the spoken word is what's being translated.
It would... Yeah. It feels like it would also be really, really... a lot more complicated if that was the case.
Right, because once you commit something from thought to actual spoken, that's a decision. So if it's unfiltered, like stream of consciousness now is coming out of the UT, because it's not a word yet.
Now, what about, okay, because you just said, and I guess maybe there isn't a difference, or it's a distinction without a difference, but I'm thinking this on two layers. What about in Voyager when the Doctor sings opera to the crew? Because A, it's a computer speaking, so is his brainwaves or his whatever, they're not brainwaves.
Well, that's a little different for a computer.
Second, he's speaking or singing Italian, and we're hearing Italian. Why isn't it being translated into Federation standard?
It comes across like, oh, I am singing now. This is my translation. Nothing else is happening. Yeah. It's like all sing-songy. Mm-hmm. And who decided? Well, I was going to say, there's the voice of the computer. Like,
it's Majel Barrett.
You know.
I mean, that's...
Right.
You didn't know
yes,
that?
I did know that. But the fact that there's no, like, voice of the UT, you know, at least in the 24th century.
Well, then because you would just hear everybody have that voice. So
right.
It makes sense.
Everyone's like monotone speaking about what you just said.
Maybe something really cool. Like it
sounds like a speak and spell. Everybody that you ever talk to.
Al's toy barn.
Well, Dr. Hawking was in Next Generation. So.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
I was thinking more like if it's essentially reading your thoughts to translate your words, I guess that is cool, but we found out that the telepaths can't read the Ferengi because they have four-lobed brains, and it seems like that kind of stuff would happen all the time. It seems like it would be way harder to translate different brain patterns than it would be different audible sounds. So.
Well, and that's where they say it's like, I think in that line I read again about that coming from the brain is it's, you know, advanced bipedal type, because again it's like, well, what about animals? You know, why can't? Where's the Doctor?
Squirrels.
Where's the Dr. Doolittle plug-in? You know, it's well, like I just met you, Enterprise, and I like you. You know.
Well, if we're saying it goes by thought, and I know this is some complication because purposefully so, but what about the children of Tama? If I remember, that's the correct phrasing of them, because we understand the words, but we don't understand the thoughts.
The context.
Well, yeah, but
it's a metaphor,
right? But like, so we don't understand their thoughts unless, like, how deep does the translation of thoughts have to go? Because all we hear is, you know,
or is
his
it
eyes
so
open,
new? So. Yeah, is it so new a language and so different in structure? Because I mean, I would have loved to seen an episode where Hoshi meets that race, because I think she would have figured it out, just in the way that, like. Because again, she really breaks it down on, you know, is it, you know, verb, noun, adjective? Like, how does it, you know, how's the structure of a sentence go? You know, I mean, their language is so complex. That,
you know what though, and she's way more competent at it than anybody on the Enterprise D. So
because they don't need. I was
going to say, I bet you that the study of language has kind of degraded.
The perishable skill, or something.
Yeah, because of.
And then when the UT goes down, everyone's just like, well, dang.
What do we do now?
You know, it's like in the 23rd century, they used to have the 20th century historian. And, you know.
What I'm more concerned about is I don't think Hoshi would survive a fight against the Predator. So that would kind of be a problem.
No, what about Empress Hoshi? I think she.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe Empress Hoshi.
Maybe she might. But I don't think she was a linguist. She was more,
Well,
empressy.
there's also, like you were just saying, that the art of language or the study of it seems to have gone away, at least in the Federation or in Starfleet, and that's also kind of seen in the fact that in the 24th century we don't have a dedicated communications officer.
Yeah, that's
Worf opens the hail, and it's more like a I'm the captain, I just don't want to push the button kind of thing.
Yeah, and I bet you of course I'm sure they do have them, but I bet you they're like calligraphers. It's kind of like a thing that some people do.
You
It's
print
kind of
on plant matter, dead plant matter. Yeah, yeah.
Writing? Why are you writing things down? Who does that? But
Guys,
obviously there are
24th century music cannot touch vinyl. I have an extensive collection from the last 300 years.
Well, yeah, this is interesting because we get communications officers in Enterprise and TOS, and like you said, after that it's just Worf hitting a button. And by the way, if he wasn't answering that hail, maybe he'd be able to stop that unauthorized transport that's going on right now.
He has like 4 screens. He only has 2 eyes. They're like 4. It's like 6 feet across.
He actually has to run
foot
to the other side of the horseshoe.
But Worf sure loves running. I mean, that's he can configure that panel any way he wants, and he purposely puts the communications on this side and weapons. He's like, Captain, I can't answer the hail and fire the phasers at the same time. My arms aren't long enough.
It's like parallels. This configuration is unfamiliar.
Yeah, it's like, Worf, that's such a BS excuse. Just fire the phasers.
They're all giant glowing
Just
buttons.
hit
man.
the
Figure it
reset
out.
button. It all goes back to basic standard, and boom, you're all set.
I'm not used to Windows 10 yet. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh gosh, that reminds me of I was trying to access something and because I'm not a Windows person, so I didn't know what Windows was. It's not Explorer. It's the new one with the E.
Edge.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, that messed me up for like a day. Like, because I was trying to open something and it would not work, and I'm like, it's freaking Internet Explorer right here. It's like, no, it actually looks almost identical, but it's a slightly different shade of blue, and it's called Edge. And I'm like, what the F is this? What is going on, Windows? I want to chuck you out the window, but
It's very useful for downloading Chrome. So that's all I'll
you
say.
heard it here, folks.
Now, so it makes me wonder what kind of layout Discovery will have, computer-wise. Because obviously Enterprise is very tactile. It's all knobs and whatever.
Right, buttons.
And then TOS is Jim Jammy buttons, I guess.
Right.
So I
I don't know what Jim Jammy means. I'm actually a little curious.
No, if you think about it, it actually makes perfect sense.
It sounds like it's right, but I don't know what a Jim Jammy is.
It's the buttons in TOS.
But then again,
obviously.
Discovery has that. And again, this is not I always have to say that it's not a criticism. It's not a criticism.
Considering we haven't seen the show yet.
No, but it has that Kelvin look. What little we've seen.
It does. It does.
And so,
but then again, I don't know what else they would do. Like, I don't see how they could advance.
Well, in other words,
technology.
The difference would be tactile versus touch. Kelvin is very touch screen,
right?
Which is 24th
so maybe like
century,
a mix,
And so because even the TOS is tactile, and I'm not saying it has to look like 1960s, but there's still some button pressing. There's not the L cards.
There was a bit of tactileness on the JJ Prize.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was mostly touch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was that T bar to go to warp.
Well, yeah, that, and
there
was a couple of other buttons, if I remember correctly.
Is the parking brake on? Phillip? Anybody?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, okay, so speaking of Discovery, because I was wondering if I could translate to this from my topic,
translate.
but so I want to make like a meme sequence, like people like edit scenes together and show something where from Star Trek 6 where Spock is talking about it's like he's talking about the torpedoes, and he's like, they must have come from a ship possibly beneath us, but not this ship, and then just cut to the help me in the name of the Discovery ship.
Oh, the Shinzu.
The Shinzu. They cut to the Shinzu where it's got the bridge underneath the saucer. And they're all like, oh, yeah, look, there's a Klingon bird of prey right there, right below us, because it's hiding.
We can see it. It's kind of obvious.
We can see it. It's like, sir, there's a or maybe just a single picture where it's like coming through their view screen and you see the partially uncloaked Klingon bird of prey. And they're like, sir, there's a cloaked Klingon bird of prey beneath us shooting. What are we going to do? Because it's basically like, yeah, there's bridges right there, which I really like. I like the difference of the bridge there. Yeah. Who knows if that's where it'll be on Discovery,
but I get it because of the way the view screen looked.
It was also kind of tricky because they kind of came into it in like a spiral kind of camera move, where at first you couldn't quite tell that it was on the bottom until you realized where they were standing, and you're like, oh, okay, it's on the bottom, which is cool.
I'm wondering...
the whole bridge is the captain's yacht. It just escape boats out of there.
Maybe that's what it was, yeah. I'm wondering, too, what they're going to do for the actual Discovery once we see it. Obviously, with this... assuming that, I guess, the Shinzu gets destroyed, I don't... Or maybe not.
No! Daniel, we've discussed this. The Shinzu combines with Super Klingon Battle Cruiser to form... Discovery.
Form, feet, and nacelles. Form, sickbay, and science. And all form the bridge.
I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be more... it'll have more nods to the Enterprise. I assume, right? Because it's a contemporary, so it should.
Oh, okay. So when you say Enterprise, it covers a lot, Daniel. So
yeah, you mean the ship.
You mean the NCC 1701.
I mean the actual...
bloody A, B, C, D, or
but I don't...
E,
I think
JJ.
maybe... I think maybe the viewers are smart enough to know, Jim Jams are just out of style.
Yeah,
we don't need them anymore.
Yeah, again, it's you can't. It's like, how do you strike that balance between it's not like 31st century technology, futuristic, but it's also not like. But we got to put what we thought the 60s future was going to look like after this. Like it's a really hard.
I mean, is there?
They put themselves there, so.
Unfortunately, Star Trek fans aren't very picky, and it's not really going to cause them any problems.
We'll roll with it, because, and again, I haven't watched the trailer a bazillion.
If they give us a cetacean ops, I will forgive all sins of Discovery.
True. That would be awesome.
The first dolphin in Starfleet in Discovery.
Maybe the dolphin still has Jim Jams with the little flippers. What were you saying, Philip?
No. Well, I was just trying to. And again, this is the Discovery Challenge, but whatever. It sounds like a YouTube video. Do the Discovery Challenge.
Is that the new game show?
I guess it actually also comes out later than you would think. To me, it's just going to be Kelvin. I mean, I'm not saying it is. That's just what it looks like, and I don't see how there's going to be any TOS nod, design wise.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Whereas, I mean, Enterprise
put
had
ladders
that.
in it and stuff. There are going to be little ways that they do it.
The grid, or whatever you call every time when the Enterprise is just like random.
They're going to put those pointless view screens up on the wall, like way up high.
Are they going to be triangle view screen in the conference room?
Hexagons.
Oh yes, the
Hexagons.
conference room. Yeah, that would be. Yeah.
Well, although, okay, maybe you can speak to this, Philip, being one of us, the only one of us serving in the military. I mean, I know that there's is kind of a similarity in ship design and stuff like that, but there's also the fact that there are very different ships that could have very different interiors and design schemes and control interfaces, like even nowadays. So that's not really that, it's actually surprising how standardized Starfleet seems.
And I guess it'd have to be very different because, and again, we don't know. What kind of ship is Discovery, or even
it looks very different,
or even the Shinzu for that fact. I mean, it's not a cruiser, because that would be a
maybe like an escort.
Well, it doesn't seem that tactical because it seems like it's still Explorer class. So whether it's
like
science ship. I mean, and I don't know. Maybe there's another way
to shirts
freeze it. Well, they were all wearing those.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Will you finally be happy, Daniel? Everyone's wearing a blue shirt.
Everyone's a blue shirt.
And when everyone's wearing a blue shirt, no one's wearing a blue shirt.
Oh, my God. Hey, since this is kind of just the Stream of Consciousness podcast, I don't know. I'd never realized, and I don't know if this is canon or not, but it is. So I was playing the Star Trek game that takes place on the JJ Enterprise, and you end up in the turboshaft tubes. I guess I never understood how turbo. And this could be something they created wholly for the game. This could be part of just the Kelvinverse, or maybe this is standard across all of Star Trek. But I didn't know. The actual elevator itself sits inside a big hamster ball, essentially.
Wait,
and that's what
can we all have the hamster ball, Daniel?
And that's what zooms
no,
around.
that is only for the dolphin crew.
Yeah, right. I don't know if that's. I guess
So it's
with
like-
when you can control gravity, I guess you don't really need that to be the case. But
I'm thinking of like the turbolift we see like on the Enterprise D, and it's more again like a cylinder.
No,
where-
right. But that cylinder itself, it's
Right.
the same thing. It
Right.
sits inside of a ball.
Yeah.
So that whole shaft is.
I think
big enough for the
is
ball.
round. So you're saying the shaft is always round because
Yeah.
a ball.
So
goes
you're saying
through
there's
it.
maybe even centrifugal force is probably not the
Oh, I
right
guess
word,
that's true.
but that you could actually move the tube that way without the person
Yeah.
knowing.
Yep, it goes both vertical and horizontal. So that's how you
Right,
get.
which is
and
what
it's
I
super
mean.
fast.
Yeah, the and the our turbolifts do that as well. Like on the Enterprise D, I think it's a cylinder for going up and down, but then I think going sideways, it's the side of a cylinder, so it's a rectangle.
Well, because like in Disaster, we know.
Because I haven't seen
Yeah, I was
that.
just gonna say in Disaster we actually see the outside of
Right.
it. So.
So it's more of a.
And I've seen, and they have pictures in like the technical manual of the turbo, and it's like a cylinder. It's a cylinder car.
But yeah, but it's
because
not
that's what it
like
looks
what
like
you're
from
talking
the
about,
inside.
Daniel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Anyways, it
within a
was cool.
sphere,
It
but
was
it
a
is cool though.
Representation of it though, because you got to have like dodge them and stuff. But I'd never really thought about it. I just assumed they just go super fast.
Well,
which
you see,
is the case, but
when the Kelvin was destroyed, Daniel, turbolift technology.
Things changed. Those were Borg enhanced turbolifts.
That's why there's
hey,
spheres.
but to be fair, we get the best representation of the turbolift in the Kelvinverse because in 09, I think it is, when they're in engineering, I can't remember specifically where they were in relation, but they go to the bridge. You see the entire trip, and it takes about 3 seconds. They step into the thing, they say bridge, and then all of a sudden
It's like, and the camera's panning around him, and then he walks out on the bridge.
Exactly. Yeah,
that is a
thought
really
was
cool
super
shot.
Cool. Yeah.
See, I thought you were
Because
going
that's
to
the
use
truth.
Willy Wonka, because to me that's kind of how I think.
No, guys, you're forgetting the best scene in a turbolift elevator shaft was Star Trek V with rocket boots.
Oh boy.
And then we fly by like 85 decks, and they're in totally weird orders. But don't even worry about that. It's just because that's the thing. Technically, the ship doesn't have to be numbered correctly inside because you're always taking the turbolift. It knows where you're going because there's no stairs.
That's right. Well, no reason a deck has to be up and down numbered. It could be like spirally numbered. You just know.
Well, that's like on in Star Wars on the Death Star, the outer skin is like a couple. Josh, jeez, give me 3 seconds. But the outer skin, it's like up is out, like the outside edge of the skin is where your head is facing. Like your feet are like a planet. Your feet are pointing down.
Yeah, so it's like a planet. Right?
But then, and that's for like maybe a couple dozen levels. And then after that, you get into the core, and that's all vertical from the North Pole to the South Pole is how because again, it's artificial gravity.
Right.
So it's more efficient to stack it inside than it is to like do a bunch of concentric spheres.
I wonder how much, again, we're just kind of going off the cuff here. I wonder how much gravity the Death Star would actually produce on its own, like without any, because if it's the size of a small
Does it
moon, I
have
mean,
satellites?
you
But
would
it's-
think you'd be able to.
It's
you'd
a
be able to-
very small moon, though.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
it
And
would
it's
have
mostly
some
hollow,
feeling.
I assume. So
Yeah. I mean, that's
And I have
yeah.
touched the
No,
sky.
it's not mostly hollow. It's actually mostly full of just stuff like atmospheric
Trash
regulators
compactors.
and trash
yeah,
compactors.
but that trash compactor room is mostly empty most of the time. Sometimes there are some little weird creatures.
But yeah, so it's. I mean, yeah. Now you're talking like a Dyson sphere. That obviously has. See, like I brought it back. I brought it back, Phillip. Okay.
There it is, full circle.
Um,
Could the Death Star destroy a Dyson sphere, or would it just punch a hole in the side of it?
oh,
Well, I don't think a Dyson sphere has any weapons unless they, build
Its
them.
weapon is being 1 AU
No.
in diameter.
Though
That's a pretty good weapon
it
right
did
there.
have a weapon. It had a would have a huge energy source. So I think it would probably be able to, if it had a little.
It just does like a blast coming out of everything, just like a.
Yeah, I mean, it has
like
a
a
star in the
shockwave.
middle of it. It kind of has unlimited energy, really. You could
unlimited power.
You could do something pretty serious with that.
I don't know. It seemed like they were kind of like, I don't think anyone's going to touch us and get inside our sphere at all. So let's not even worry about it.
Even if you did, it wouldn't matter. The Dyson sphere is kind of a crazy concept.
Yeah. Like once you start to, I mean, your brain cannot fathom 1 AU. It's just, it's nuts. Like honestly, they even misrepresent it in the show because like you would not see a curve at all.
Straight, yeah.
It would just be like a wall of tech. Just
again
that stretched on forever.
And
I also contend that the Federation should have known about that Dyson sphere's existence for a long, long time. Honestly, we could probably see it.
Section
now.
31 knew.
Oh yeah, I bet they did. Yeah.
Well, that's why they killed everyone inside of it.
That's where they build their secret fleet. Actually, be a really good
place. Have any
place.
planets that actually orbit the Dyson sphere? That would be interesting, and how it would have been affected once it was all built.
Technically, if the gravitational pull, well, because gravity is by mass and density, technically it would have a greater pull than the star alone.
But there's no energy coming from the Dyson sphere.
No, but we're not. But planets aren't held in by tractor beams; they're held in by.
They're going to be all dead now. Is what I'm saying.
That's
well,
I
they
see
would
what you're saying. Yes,
yeah,
there would be planets, but they wouldn't be heated by a sun. Yes, I see what you're saying because they were
those
jerks and they're like, no sun for you,
Dyson
and they're gonna cover it up.
I'm taking all the energy for me,
and I'm gonna take my sun and go, and you can't play.
That's kind of a cool concept. Like, what if there was a primitive civilization on one of those planets, and you could tell a story like over however long it took. Slowly, the sun started to go dark, and you wouldn't know why.
Except for the Dyson sphere is built at the diameter of the habitable zone.
Well,
of the star.
What we consider the habitable zone.
Right.
You could make some other sort of something.
It's Star Trek. You can't just make things up, Daniel.
Well, I was just thinking that the surface. I say the surface, the inside of the Dyson sphere. How close is it to the star? But you're saying it's not close at all. It's like where Earth is now to our star.
Well, technically, it could be slightly closer if it was a G-type star or a star that's like less intense. The less intense it is, the closer you can get to it.
Would there be a possible? And I don't know. This is where we're going science, and this is where I start to lose my expertise because I have none. Because you're, for lack of a better word, capturing that energy. Like it's not going as it normally would. Wouldn't it, like, not boil up is the wrong word, but isn't there a concern?
They would have to vent. They would certainly have to vent somewhere.
Like, you're creating your own greenhouse effect, aren't you? Or is that the wrong use of it?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, how do you create an atmosphere on the inside? You'd need an atmosphere. You would need a magnetic field on the skin, on the interior skin, to protect from cosmic radiation.
Yeah, that's what... Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
I do think that there would have to be some way to it. You were getting way too much energy,
because it's radiating. You're getting 100% of the energy out of the sun.
Right. So there's got to be some exhaust port where we could maybe shoot something into. But if it's only as big as a womp rat, I don't think it's going to be very effective.
The thing's got to have a tailpipe.
That's a big tailpipe. It's a Dyson sphere. Yeah, it can fit, 85 Jupiters in it, but,
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense why.
Because
that's neither here nor there.
We could, Daniel. You don't ask why that mountain is there that we can climb it. You see that star, and you're like, I want to build a big-ass metal thing around it.
Now, I wonder, in Discovery, though, what kind of warp effect are we going to get? Are we going to get something like we saw in Discovery or in Beyond with the kind of ripple?
Yes, the bubble. Give us the bubble.
It looked pretty cool.
Yep. Best warp effect ever was in Discovery, without a doubt.
So you get your dubbing.
You mean Beyond, but I know what you mean.
Beyond, Daniel, you get your warp bubble in Beyond. It sounds like it might be your favorite Star Trek movie.
It's got a lot of really cool small elements. I know Simon Pegg wrote it, but and I guess maybe the director. I'm not sure who made a lot of those decisions. Somebody there was a fan, or at least feels the same way I do about a lot of things, because I thought that was easily the best warp effect that we've ever had.
I mean, and it started to have things like the vault. Like, that totally makes sense that they have a room like that.
Yeah.
Or, even like the under. I mean, I know we'd already kind of seen it, but all the thrusters underneath the saucer to help it, like, because it's basically designed to go into atmosphere. That's a big difference for this ship, and underwater, which we won't get.
Well, what do you mean? The Enterprise, the original Enterprise, just hung out in Earth in 1966. Just flying around. So.
That's true.
Voyager was in the Earth's atmosphere. Of course,
Voyager, but Voyager is much smaller.
Well, it wasn't much smaller than the Enterprise, was it?
That's true. That's true.
Close, I think.
But much smaller than the JJ Prize, because that thing was huge.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
I mean breweries don't build themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
That has a lot of empty space in it.
Well, it depends on if they're, if all of those giant vats are filled with beer or not.
Well, I feel like the JJ Enterprise
beer
is more like the Titanic, in that it has all that space because it has to have this sort of whatever you call the unsinkability of the Titanic.
Grandiose feel.
No, it had to have the reason why it was said unsinkable. It had to have each of the chambers or whatever. So,
the watertight doors.
Yeah, or whatever. And so I feel like that's because obviously they knew all of our Starfleet ships get blown up to hell every single time,
or go underwater.
And so there's
Paint
all that.
Me like one of your Orion girls.
Yeah, and so the space. Every time we see the Enterprise get shot up and whatever, it's fine. That's like the empty shell outside. It's like the candy core center is a couple more inside, so it's fine. There's some expendables. You don't need to be assigned to the outer shell.
That's true. There's not really any armor in Star Trek. It's shields, and then when the shields
obviously
go
you've
away,
never heard of a tiny ship called the Defiant.
Okay, and it is also like the ablative armor and
in Enterprise as well too.
Well, even in
Voyager,
I was going to say in-game,
the Borg one.
Oh yeah,
that's the ablative armor, which was pretty. That was pretty cool, and it sold another Eagle Moss set, so win-win.
Hey, what will Discovery bring for Eagle Moss? Come on now.
All right,
there's 2 ships.
3 Klingons.
Or maybe one. Maybe one.
Oh, no, yeah.
One giant
the Klingon and go the first attachable ship.
What's this connection peg doing in the back of this pit? Well, we'll find out.
Find out on season 2.
Well, it's been a lot of fun talking about the universal translator, different types of brainwave patterns of... and this okay, just so our listeners know, this is not at all what we were planning on talking about initially, but when we supposed to get around the 25-minute mark, I'm like, this is what we're going to be talking about today. So but it's
it was impromptu show.
Yeah, but it was fun because this is what I love best about podcasting Star Trek is it's as if we were hanging out at a bar or just chatting it up on this topic that we really like.
Well,
and
no. If we were hanging around a bar, I'd have a Budweiser Classic in my hand right now.
Or Cardassian Sunrise.
Oh, jeez. Just give me something green. That's all I want.
It is green.
And I hate it. But yes. So, but it's been a lot of fun talking on these rambling topics, which I feel we kept fairly cohesive. But I didn't even realize that UT was such a deep topic. Like, we talked a good amount about that.
If we had done notes, we probably could have done a whole show on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we pretty much did.
I just think our listeners won't forget the first time they heard us talk about UT.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, not speaking on UT anymore, Daniel, what are we going to be talking about next week?
We'll be doing Universal Translator Part 2.
I really don't feel there's enough material for that.
Next week is another surprise podcast because I will be surprised as well when I come up with it.
But I'm sure it'll be great because even when we don't plan as well as we should, it ends up being a great conversation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Philip, where can someone find you if they want to talk to you about your first UT?
Well, I mean, I'm married now, so I really can't talk about it as much as I used to. But they can find me on Twitter, where my handle is NC Public Servant.
And Daniel, if someone wanted to talk to you about Data's interface into the Xbox 55, where would they find you?
Now, is Data cross-platform, Daniel?
Oh, data would definitely be.
He's really proprietary. Soon has that locked down. I mean, if once you buy into that ecosystem, you got to keep putting datas on your enterprise. You have no option.
Well, yeah, obviously they couldn't trade for anybody else. They can find me on Twitter at @OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the number 0.
It's either a 1 or a 0, alive or dead. And if someone wanted to talk to me about why Galron shouldn't be able to say Qapla', I'm just saying it. Anyway, they can rant with me on Twitter under username Dr. Sci-Fi, DRSCIFI. But what do you think, Philip?
Well, I was going to say, I just heard success when you said that. So.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, actually, we've been speaking...
Don't wait for the translation. Just finish the show.
I've been speaking in Klingon this entire episode. Daniel's been speaking Romulan, and Philip binary. But the UT of City Alpha 3 has translated all to... Well, actually, just English, because if you speak another language, that's what you're hearing. I'm sorry. It's stuck.
It's like the TARDIS. It just goes.
It's stuck in English. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah.
Buenas tardes. I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
Mi nombre está Moser Darren.